For 3 millennia, the Xylos Swarm ruled the cosmos, subjugating worlds not with plasma cannons or antimatter bombs, but through a psychic weapon, the frequency of submission. This subsonic audio wave bypassed conscious thought, instantly hijacking the central nervous system to dissolve willpower and induce total compliance. Whole planetary alliances had surrendered without a single drop of blood spilled. When their city-sized dreadnoughts dropped out of hyperspace above Earth, Admiral Vane stood proudly on his flagship bridge, looking down at Seoul. He ordered the global broadcast across all atmospheric bands, expecting fractured militaries to drop their weapons and the multi-billion population to fall into a quiet trance within minutes. As massive audio emitters hummed to life, an oppressive blanket of dread settled over the continents, signaling the end of human history. Down on Earth, the atmosphere grew heavy as the invisible wave rolled across hemispheres. Existential dread rippled through cities, accompanied by a low hum vibrating in human bones. Tanks halted on military bases. Panicked personnel lacked the mental willpower to press defensive buttons. Yet, in a soundproofed Hongdae basement studio, 19-year-old Min-jun was entirely oblivious to the cosmic apocalypse. Wearing high-end noise-canceling headphones, he faced a brutal deadline, finishing a debut track for a rising K-pop group dropping tomorrow. Checking his digital audio interface, he noticed a bizarre phenomenon. A hyper-resonant sub-bass frequency bled directly into his microphone feed, bypassing his expensive hardware filters. Min-jun frowned, adjusting dials and assuming it was electrical interference. He had no idea alien warships filled the sky. He only knew this unsolicited audio pattern was absolutely filthy and deeply rhythmic. Instead of panicking, Min-jun's producer instincts took control. He isolated the intrusive alien frequency on his software timeline, cutting the cosmic wave into a tight, repetitive, 4-bar loop. He realized the internal rhythm was steady but painfully slow, dragging at an agonizing pace. Shaking his head at the lack of energy, he twisted a digital dial, aggressively speeding the alien wave up to a club-ready 130 beats per minute. He layered a thick, distorted synth bass line over the modified wave, added a crisp 808 snare pattern, and let the track build into a massive dance drop. To test how the audio slammed, he recorded a 15-second phone video of himself head-bobbing to the explosive new beat. The camera briefly captured the glowing purple sky outside his window, but Min-jun didn't think twice. He uploaded the snippet to social media, captioning it, "Alien Invasion type beat. This drop goes absolutely crazy." What happened next defied every rule in the Xylos invasion manual. Because the flagship blasted its maximum power frequency directly into Earth's atmosphere, the human brain was already subconsciously tuned to that exact sonic wave. When Min-jun's frantic remix hit the internet, the added pop syncopation and high-energy drum patterns acted like a biological Trojan horse. Instead of reinforcing mental paralysis, the familiar cosmic frequency, now paired with a driving dance beat, completely overrode submission triggers. It instantaneously converted the incoming dread into a massive rush of pure dopamine and adrenaline. Within 3 hours, the video went hyper-viral, bouncing from phone to phone globally. Millions of citizens who had been lying on the ground in total despair suddenly stood up, feeling mysteriously energized, and began dancing wildly in the streets. The weaponized alien frequency had been accidentally transformed into a global dance challenge. Up on the flagship bridge, the rigid military atmosphere grew thick with confusion. Admiral Vane stared at primary planetary monitors, his specialized eyes widening in utter disbelief. The Planetary Compliance Index, which historically reached 100% within an hour, was crashing straight toward zero. In its place, tactical scanners showed a massive spike in heat signatures, elevated heart rates, and frantic rhythmic movement across every continent. Humans were not surrendering, they were assembling in massive, cheerful crowds directly under the hovering warships, pointing small, glowing devices at the armada and moving perfectly in time with a strange counter-signal. "They are openly mocking us," the chief tactical officer reported. "They intercepted our sacred wave and added syncopated percussion. Our translators indicate they call our weapon a certified banger." Furious, Vane ordered the frequency generators pushed to 150% capacity. As the aliens dialed up their power, intense pressure slammed into Earth, threatening to plunge humanity back into a helpless trance. Recognizing the danger, authorities traced the digital countersignal directly to Min-jun's basement studio. Within an hour, military helicopters evacuated the bewildered teenager, rushing him to a high-security broadcast facility. Earth's defense strategy was hastily rewritten on the fly. Generals would use the planet's massive satellite communication arrays, emergency alert systems, and giant stadium sound systems to broadcast Min-jun's completed track, Invader Base, at a planetary scale. It was a direct battle of the airwaves, psychic subjugation pitted against a high-production pop remix. The dramatic climax shook the upper atmosphere as both sides unleashed full power. The Xylos Armada initiated its absolute maximum power broadcast to permanently crush human free will. But as the suffocating mental pressure reached its peak, Earth's unified towers fired back with everything they had. Min-jun's polished track exploded simultaneously across every radio tower, concert speaker, and television screen. The soaring vocals of the K-pop group pierced through alien static, leading into an earth-shattering bass drop. The counter-frequency didn't just break the psychic hold, it physically interacted with the invaders' technology. Because the dreadnoughts relied entirely on acoustic resonance physics for propulsion, the track's energy caused internal power grids to violently backfire, forcing flagships to make ungraceful emergency landings. Utterly defeated, his armada grounded and his technology paralyzed by the musical groove, Admiral Vane had no choice left. He descended to the surface via a transport beam, stepping onto a makeshift wooden stage constructed in the center of Seoul's main plaza to sign a formal treaty of unconditional surrender. Global leaders and generals stood rigidly along the back of the stage for live television cameras, but Admiral Vane looked completely broken under the Earth's sun. Before pressing his official imperial seal to the historic document, he addressed the silent assembly through his automated digital translator. "We accept our total defeat," Vane said quietly, "but before we depart, I demand to meet the master strategist who engineered this devastating counter-frequency." From the tense crowd, a deeply embarrassed Min-jun was pushed forward by two generals. Still wearing his oversized hoodie and running on convenience store coffee, he looked incredibly nervous in front of the world's media. Admiral Vane leaned forward, peering closely at the scrawny teenager, and then looked down in confusion at the workstation software still open on Min-jun's battered laptop. As the alien commander examined the raw digital waveform of the original Xylos frequency on the screen, his features froze in absolute shock. "Where exactly did your military labs acquire this foundational base file?" Vane whispered. It wasn't a lab," Min-jun explained, nervously scratching his neck. "It was just bleeding into my microphone setup from the sky." The final pieces fell into place as human scientists realized the hilarious truth. The terrifying frequency of submission was actually just a distorted, drastically slowed-down loop of an old 1930s human jazz record launched into deep space on Voyager 1 back in 1977. The fearsome alien empire had spent thousands of years using humanity's own background music to conquer the galaxy, only to be defeated because human musical taste had evolved into modern K-pop. The surrender treaty was torn up and rewritten. The Xylos Swarm didn't leave Earth. Instead, they signed a lucrative multi-galaxy entertainment contract. The former conquerors gladly traded their battle armor for trendy streetwear, quickly becoming the galaxy's most sought-after concert sound engineers and synchronized backup dancers, proving Earth's ultimate defense was its unstoppable rhythm. Make sure to like and subscribe.